Hi everyone, this is the antepartum lecture, spring 2020. I'm just going to go through the slides here, and then any of the videos that I usually put into the PowerPoint or the lecture, then I will just upload it to the modules, and then you guys can just watch it, and I'll just say you can pause this part and then go to this video, and hopefully that will work this time. I've tried so many different ways to do this and none of them seem to work. I can't upload to YouTube. So I'm doing this way. It's going to be sort of cut and paste, but hopefully it will work for you guys and you can get the information. All right, let's just begin. Okay, so here's a video. It shows a animation of an entire pregnancy from conception to birth. I like it because it kind of shows you a lot of the different growth times of the babies, when the genitals differentiate, when the baby's eyes are not fused anymore. It's just a cool thing. And then actually what the baby kind of looks like during the labor process. So I will upload that for you, and you can just watch that. You can pause it now if you want to, and you can go look at it, or you can look at it later, whichever you want to do. Okay, so we're going to talk about pregnancy with the signs of pregnancy, or what kind of clues us into a pregnancy happening. So we're going to do this into 3 different categories, and the first category are presumptive signs. So the presumptive signs are things that a woman experiences in her own body that kind of clues her into thinking she might be pregnant. Now, these signs are not confirmation of pregnancy, and they can all be explained explained in other ways. That's why this is not confirmation of pregnancy. So you'll have to kind of understand which symptom, if you're given a sign, you'll have to be able to put that in the correct category: presumptive, probable, and I can't remember the last one right at this point. But so the presumptive signs are amenorrhea, so the loss of a period, feeling tired, that nausea and vomiting that women get from the HCG hormone, breast sensitivity and changes, that frequent urination caused by the hormones of pregnancy also, and then this quickening right here. This is those first movements that the fetus makes. It almost feels like butterflies in a woman's stomach. So she can feel it, but it's not a strong movement. As the pregnancy continues, it's almost, there's no doubt as to that there's a baby in there. But at first, it just feels like this little fluttering movement. And so this right here is important. Women who have had a baby, a previous pregnancy, they will feel this quickening at a much earlier time, around 16 weeks, because they know what they're feeling and they felt it before and they know what that is. With women who have never been pregnant before, it takes a little bit longer for them to feel it and to recognize what that is. So that's more closer to 20 weeks. And then these Montgomery glands, these are breast changes that happen, and these glands are found everywhere they're found all the time, but they become more pronounced in pregnancy, like the slide says. And this is what they look like right here. You can see these bumps. These are sebaceous glands, but they actually release a volatile compound that serves as an olfactory stimulus for this infant to kind of get them to breastfeed. The next category of signs is the probable signs, and these are what the provider is able to assess. Again, not a firm confirmation of pregnancy, but what the provider will see on examination, or the test that the provider will run on the patient. So a positive pregnancy test, lots of people think this is a confirmation of pregnancy, but there are drugs and infertility medications that can cause a mimicking HCG type response, and so even a positive pregnancy test is not an actual confirmation of a pregnancy. There are 3 signs that are probable signs, and they're named after people. Anytime in OB nursing, when you see something that's named after somebody, just get it to memory, because these are things that they love to be tested on. So, and also anytime you see stages or steps or anything like that, those are also really, really good to just kind of make sure you get that into your head. The first sign is called Chadwick sign. And you can see right here, this is a uterus and this is a uterus. This is a non-pregnant uterus, right? You can see the ovaries right here, no baby. You can see the fetus in here. What happens is the very bottom of the uterus, called the cervix, it gives off this bluish purplish hue when an examiner is assessing a patient, and it's just from the increased vascularization of those tissues during pregnancy and caused by those hormones released during pregnancy. So that is one of the signs that a provider can see, and he or she might think that this is a sign of pregnancy. The next sign is a Goodell sign, and you see right here that very bottom portion of the uterus, again called the cervix, becomes softened, and towards late in the pregnancy, we hope later in the pregnancy, it actually starts to shorten, soften, and disappear, called effacement. And we went over this in lab. So this will soften throughout pregnancy, and then closer to labor, when woman's going labor, it will start to efface. And then Hagar's sign is just like Goodell's sign, and it just is the bottom portion segment of the uterus, so not including the cervix, but that bottom portion. Remember, this top portion is that strong myometrial labor. There's where the really good contractions come from, is that top of the uterus. That is the fundus, and that's what we palpate during labor when we're using external monitors to see the strength of a contraction. So the top stays nice and muscular and firm, but the bottom here becomes very soft. And that's important when we're talking about some of the problems with pregnancy, and I'll explain that later in the next week's lecture. So ballottement is another probable sign, and this is just when the provider pushes against the cervix and there is a fetus in there, it will kind of bounce like a ball in water. It will bounce upward and then come back down and retract. So this can be caused by other things besides a fetus in the uterus. It could be caused by a tumor or something like that, but it is a probable sign of pregnancy. The next is Braxton Hicks contractions. These are not true contractions because they do not result in changing, softening, and dilating that cervix. They can be felt throughout pregnancy very subtly, and may become stronger as the pregnancy continues. How we know these are Braxton Hicks contractions and not true contractions is the woman can walk them off, change positions, drink some water, and they will resolve. They won't continue to be stronger and closer together. And the last thing is the positive signs. These are an absolute confirmation of the pregnancy. Things like the fetal heartbeat, which can be detected by Doppler at 12 weeks, and fetal movement that is palpated. So not just the outline of the fetus, because that would be a probable sign, but the movement of the fetus on its own. That is a positive sign. And then that ultrasound where you can actually see the fetus inside the gravid uterus. Okay, so we're going to talk about pregnancy, and we're going to divide up into 3 trimesters. The first is 0 to 12 weeks. That's where the woman is mostly nauseated and lots of changes going on in her body. Second, the nausea kind of resolves a little bit usually on a normal pregnancy. And then the 3rd trimester is where things get really tight inside there. And each trimester will have different problems if there are problems. So a bleeding in first trimester is going to be very different kind of diagnostic problem than something you would see, say, in the 3rd semester. So just kind of think about in terms of trimesters, when we talk about the problems in pregnancy, the complications, and really it kind of helps you differentiate what is going on. And if you get a test question, you can say, oh, well, what trimester is this? So it must, there's only a few kind of things that causes bleeding in the 3rd trimester. So it must be something like that. That kind of is helpful, I believe, to help you guys differentiate the different complications in pregnancy. Okay, so, this is another video right here called the Physiological Adaptation. This is a Khan Academy video, and I will upload it. In fact, it already is uploaded. But if you want to pause now again, you can watch that and then come back to this video. And she talks about the main organs and the changes that they go to. It's a really good video, so I really encourage you to watch it. Okay, if you're back, now there's some other changes that happen due to the hormones of pregnancy, and these are skin changes. So you see this mask of pregnancy, melasma or chloasma, and it's the darkening pigmentation, and it's normal for every woman, pretty much every woman, and it resolves about 6 months to a year after the pregnancy has resolved, or the birth of the baby. Linea nigra is this dark line right here, and it's just caused by those hormones also. Every woman experiences it. So along with the physiological adaptation of pregnancy, there is a psychological adaptation of pregnancy. And you can read about this in your ATI. There's some things that are fairly common in pregnancies, and especially in that 1st trimester, there's a very common sense of ambivalence about the pregnancy. And women a lot of times feel kind of guilt over this, that they're not so excited about the pregnancy, or there's a lot of anxiety mixed with the pregnancy, but this is a completely normal finding. And these are the things that I'm talking about. You can see on page, page 21, the 2nd paragraph down the left, under preparation for pregnancy and birth. This is what I'm talking about. These are the maternal adaptations to pregnancy. And we as nurses can help women kind of adjust to or adapt to pregnancy. And there's different goals for different trimesters. So in the 1st trimester, we're going to help that woman to accept the pregnancy. In the 2nd trimester, we're going to help them accept the baby. And then the 3rd trimester, we're going to help them prepare for parenthood. Her and her partner, or whomever she says her family is going to be. We're going to help them. And we do it in a number of ways. We do it with those prenatal visits, which are very important, and we do it by education and giving her resources to get that most education, so she is fully prepared to bring this baby home and take care of this baby. Okay, so I can only go 15 minutes on these videos, so I'm going to stop this video and then we're going to start again. So you're just going to have lots of videos. Screenomatic only lets me do 15 minutes. So I'm going to stop this video and then we will continue on in the next video.